Love him or hate him, Rush Limbaugh is without question a loud and provocative conservative voice. So it's hardly surprising that he would be a major guest for Fox News Sunday. But Chris Wallace has been arguing that the White House boycott of Fox News is, well, dumb, and that President Obama should come on his program. But did Wallace challenge Limbaugh during his half-hour appearance last Sunday, or virtually give him a free pass to attack the president? Let's take a look.
You have now taken to calling Mr. Obama the man-child president.
Right.
What does that mean?
Just he's immature. He's a child. I think he's got a 5-minute career.
You suggest that he is taking all of this time to decide what to do in Afghanistan to keep his left-wing base on board for health care reform.
Well, it's partly that, but I also don't think he cares much about it. I think
Oh, come on.
No.
You don't think that Barack Obama has a profound respect for our soldiers and the families that are giving the sacrifice?
Chris, throughout the Iraq War, it was Barack Obama and the Democrat Party which actively sought the defeat of the U.S. military.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Joining us now to examine the Rush interview and some major television coverage of other big stories this week. In Philadelphia, Gail Shister, the columnist for TVNewser.com and a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. And here in Washington, David Zurawik, television critic for the Baltimore Sun, who writes the blog Z on TV. All right, Z. Rush is a major league commentator. He gets to come on and say whatever he wants. Did Chris Wallace, in your view, sufficiently challenge him?
I don't think he gave him a free pass as much as an easy pass, Howie. And I think the worst thing about it was the extreme deference. Remember how a lot of people got on Brian Williams for almost bowing to President Obama when they did the backstage at the White House 2 nights? Chris Wallace was beyond that. And it starts right at the top of that interview when he says, in a rare interview, you know, he talks to us. And later in the interview, you'll see another example of it when they talk about salary. And Rush is all pumped up about how much money he's going to be making. And Wallace says, now, you are a great broadcaster, but even you, are you worth that? And I thought, this is so his main problem, I think, was extreme deference. But this was a very sophisticated interview. It wasn't softballs. It was almost like 2 jazz performers. He would come in and give a little knock on the tom-tom, and Rush would take off.
Now, there were times, Gail Shister, when, for example, Wallace said that Obama had improved the economy. Rush obviously didn't give him any credit for that. And he also asked Limbaugh about his experience in drug rehab. But was it a different kind of interview that Wallace would have conducted with a major league liberal commentator who might get that much time?
I think that it's painfully obvious. I mean, there's a reason that Rush Limbaugh was chosen to do this interview. I mean, I don't think it's just coincidence that Roger Ailes produced Rush's syndicated TV show from '92 to '96. That didn't just happen. I mean, he's the perfect mouthpiece for Fox. And I agree with Dave that, yeah, he did. Wallace did challenge him from time to time, but basically he did get a free ride. You've got a guy like Rush Limbaugh who's calling the President of the United States immature, narcissistic, with an out-of-this-world ego. And those are all direct quotes. And to me, it's just Fox saying directly to the White House, F you. Look what we've got. This is who you are. What are you going to do about it?
Well, you say it's Fox saying it directly to the White House, but, you know, guests come on CNN and MSNBC with all kinds of strongly held opinions. It doesn't mean the network is endorsing those opinions.
Well, I'd like to know who chose Limbaugh. I'd like to know how much of it was Wallace.
What network wouldn't put on Limbaugh? I had Limbaugh on this program several years ago. He is a get in terms of television booking. But the question is then, what do you do with that interview, and how much do you challenge him, or how much do you give him a platform to start whacking away at President Obama?
I think it's a question of how he whacks away. It's one thing to criticize the policies of the president. It's another thing to say he's a man-child, that he's immature, and he has an out-of-this-world ego. Right, and he wasn't challenged a lot on that.
I wouldn't criticize Fox at all for having him on. It's a big interview. In terms, you know, somebody said to me, is this a smart move? I said, yeah, in terms of ratings, it's probably a smart move. And in terms of Monday morning buzz and having your video out there on the internet, it's a good move. I think where it is, again with this deference, but also how when he went to the thing about the pictures, the photographs of Barack Obama at Dover, and he called it a photo op. Right there, I think any one of us three would have stopped the interview and said something along the lines of, well, that's a serious charge. Do you know what you're saying here, that he's exploiting the death of these soldiers, essentially? Chris Wallace didn't do that. And part of it is Rush's personality. Rush just steamrolled. As soon as Chris would start to say something, Rush would steamroll over him.
Let me turn to something else now. And it was a good, the Limbaugh interview did well in the ratings for Fox.
Why do you think his name is Rush?
All right, Diane Sawyer this week got the